skinny fat, weak, and unconfident to a powerlifting state champion, remaining aesthetic throughout the entire process. This is how I ate to squat 500 pounds, deadlift 465 pounds, and bench 335. We're going to be talking about cycles of importance, the priority in which you want to eat for either strength or aesthetics. You can have both, but you need to choose one that you're going to fully optimize, because you can only get 100% gains in one of them, and the other one you're going to have to eat to kind of take a hit in it. You know, if you want to fully eat for strength, you're going to have to take a hit to your aesthetics. If you want to fully eat for aesthetics, you're going to have to take a hit to your strength. It's just the trade-off that you kind of have to do. So if you want to eat fully just for strength, then your nutrient timing is going to be just spread out all throughout the day, just carbs, 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 and enough protein, obviously, to build muscle, right? If you want to eat for aesthetics, then you might have sparsely, like way less carbs, more protein. It might be more like, tuna, chicken, just tuna and chicken is you eat that stuff, you're not going to get fat. You're probably just going to get shredded, all right? What I did, personally, I packed around some tuna, some chicken, and that is the best way to get shredded and get aesthetic, is to eat tuna and chicken, maybe take some a multivitamin or something to balance everything out. But that's definitely the fastest way to get aesthetic, is to just basically eat, go on a semi-carnivore diet for maybe a month. But if you're trying to optimize for strength and power, for power and aesthetics, then you need to also have carbs in there, right? So in my cutting phases where I'm really trying to dial in some aesthetics or something, what you want to do is have really great nutrient timing, okay? That's the point I'm trying to make here. So let's say that you are in a aesthetic phase of your life and you want to be an absolute lean, sick cunt, okay? Basically, if you want to keep your strength and stuff, you need to time what little carbs you're going to have in your diet when you're trying to get shredded. You want to time that basically some of it an hour before you lift, and then another little bit of it about 30 minutes before you lift. What we're trying to do here is saturate up your glycogen stores. That way you actually have energy and stuff to lift, because it isn't fully just about energy and feeling energized and stuff when you're lifting. Obviously, if you're in a significant caloric deficit, you're not going to feel energized, bro. But you can optimize to have most of your energy be during your training, or maybe during some important work that you're going to do, all right? Because whenever you lift, your muscles have to go through a lot of strain, and whenever they go through all that strain, they're pushing and shit, they are depleting their glycogen stores, the carb stores inside of your muscle whenever you lift. Basically, what I'm saying is you need to time the most, most of the brunt of your carbs an hour before, and then a little bit more 30 minutes before, because that's going to help you optimize for strength during that part of the day. Obviously, it will not be nowhere near as good if you were optimizing for strength. Let's get into that. So, if you were optimizing your nutrition timing for strength and not aesthetics, you would wake up, pound some pretty good amount of carbs, and basically the way this works is kind of saturation. Whenever you eat carbs and whenever you eat proteins, it gets saturated in your body, right? You're going to have glycogen stores start to get saturated. So whenever you wake up, you're going to kind of want to eat breakfast, get it kind of saturated. Then a few hours later, you're going to kind of want to eat a snack or something. And then an hour is 2 hours before, pretty big. An hour before, a little bit more. 30 minutes before, once again. You basically just eat like a fat ass if you're trying to optimize for strength. Okay? Now, the best way to get a balance between these two worlds, the aesthetic powerlifting way, is to kind of limit your carbs. Maybe make that nutrient timing, because honestly, the difference between eating like a fat ass and eating kind of the way I did to achieve my results is pretty different, but the performance is not all that different. Obviously, if you pound an insane amount of carbs and get fat as hell, you will get stronger. But you did not click on this video because you want to be fat. So what I would recommend is timing most of your carbs to be 2 hours, an hour before, because obviously we're not fully in the power part. We're not fully in the aesthetic part. So we don't have to eat like we're starving, and we also don't have to eat like we're never going to eat again and just start pounding an insane amount of freaking cinnamon toast and stuff like that. So what we're going to do is 2 hours before, we're going to eat a pretty good, decent meal. An hour before, pretty good, a lot of carbs and stuff. And then we're protein, once again, scattered throughout the day. but we're going to keep our portions kind of conservative. We're not going to eat like an absolute maniac, but we're still going to make sure that our performance and all the carbs and stuff that we eat throughout the day is going to be optimized for our training. That way we can get effective strength training in, and our like glycogen stores are not depleted. Food selection is also going to play a pretty big priority onto if you're going for strength or aesthetics. If you're going for more aesthetics, your carbs might consist more of like rice, chickens. That's not carbs, but like basically just whole foods. All right, if you're going more for aesthetics, you're gonna be way more satiated and stuff. It's gonna help a lot. Like oatmeal is pretty good for aesthetics, but if you're going full powerlifter mode and you're just trying to be a fat ass that can lift a little bit of weight, then you kind of go insane. Basically, it's like full strength, like dieting is damn near just borderline obesity. Okay, basically just junk food, crazy fast life. We've all seen the Sour Patch Kids. All right, the reason why people eat Sour Patch Kids as a powerlifter is because it is fully processed, freaking insane added sugar in that, and basically it's going to go into your system and basically come out of your system just as fast as it went in. Super fast digesting carbs, pretty effective. I even use something similar during my meets to kind of get like a rapid fast acting carb. I didn't use Sour Patch Kids, I used like M&Ms and stuff, but but for just standard training, I'd recommend doing something a bit more healthy. You know, have oatmeal. Oatmeal's a pretty good one. Honey is an absolute cheat code. Honey is a really fast acting digesting carb. I'd recommend maybe having like a piece of toast with some honey on it, maybe 30 minutes before training, and an hour before, getting your brunt amount of carbs in there, like with a pretty decent sized meal, maybe like rice, chicken, stuff like that. If you don't have rice, then maybe just like chicken and some peanuts and stuff. It's gonna keep you pretty satiated, not fat, but it's still got like just plenty of nutrients that your body needs to lift at an optimal caliber. If you guys want some more information on that, I have a full course linked in the description. Okay, I'm going to touch on the concept of like the anabolic window a little bit briefly, because I just recently did a deep dive into all the research again to see if there's anything new with it. And basically most of the like anabolic window timing is still just basically like based off of the premise that you should space out all of your meals really evenly, because the more you space them out and you kind of have like 30 grams, 30 grams, 30 grams, 30 grams of protein, your body's going to absorb it a lot better than if you just absolutely blow it up with 100 grams of protein. It's just the way the science ends up panning out. It's not so much related to like an actual post-workout thing, although one thing that is really scientifically proven is your glycogen stores are like 50% more sensitive to being like replenished within like the after like 2 hours of training. Not after, but like during a 2 hour window after you stop training and stuff like pretty intensely, your glycogen stores are way more sensitive to being refueled. This information isn't too useful unless if you plan on like working out again later in the day, so you don't need to start pounding freaking peanut butter and jelly sandwiches the second you stop lifting. But it is great. It's pretty good, especially for advanced lifters, because the more advanced you get into lifting, basically you have protein buildup and breakdown. And whenever you lift, breakdown's like crazy, right? You need to eat protein to bring it all back up. But if you have it all throughout the day, spaced out, your buildup's always going to be pretty damn high, and your breakdown, it's going to basically kind of meet it a little bit. But if you train fasted, now this is where the anabolic window is crucial. You need to eat after you train, because that breakdown is going to basically outperform your buildup, and you're going to end up going into a catabolic state, basically losing muscle, okay? Doing the exact opposite of what you want to do. So especially if you're an advanced individual and gains are sparse and they take a very long time to do, then you're going to want to kind of time all of your protein throughout the day really freaking evenly, so that you can optimize this protein buildup so you don't end up accidentally going catabolic and losing muscle during your workouts. If you're a more newbie lifter, you don't need to worry about this as much. Basically, whatever you do, you're going to have more protein buildup than breakdown. This is like more advanced. Still, you do need to eat enough protein to actually like make progress, obviously. But the timing part of everything is more of an advanced topic. But if you want to like fast track your progress, then I would definitely recommend kind of spacing everything out, because that is the most effective way to absorb protein, to increase your protein buildup rather than its decay through working out and just existing. But that's about as much as I have to say about the aesthetic powerlifting way of dieting. If you're interested in my course, it is linked in the description. There's a lot more. I have a whole module dedicated to this diet. I do a deep dive into everything, but enough being annoying. See you later.